Landscape architect Timothy Beatley, in his Native to Nowhere, Sustaining Home and Community in a Global Age, suggests various ways in which we have lost daily ordinary connections with nature in our contemporary modern life. And these are familiar to all of us in the room here. We've lost connections with our food and its source, with the ways in which food is produced and the extent to which land health is degraded or promoted. Natural processes, functions, and cycles are mostly hidden from us, given modern engineering and its penchant for covering, paving over, and hiding natural systems and features. I realized the extent of this in a poignant example of the opposite in terms of the way in which a natural feature was brought to my attention at the Bronx Zoo. Maybe some of you have been there recently, but they've built a gigantic public washroom that's all composting toilets, and it's the Bronx Zoo, so it services a large number of people, and it's actually a beautiful building. It's a beautiful example of biophilic design in terms of using natural materials, the way the light comes in. It's sort of strange to be talking about a bathroom in this way, right? But it's this beautiful structure that you go to and you say, what could this be? It's the bathrooms. And then the facility inside, every bathroom door explains exactly what's happening to your waste in a very sort of basic and upfront way. And one realizes the extent to which one doesn't think about this. And this is a very basic idea that we all realize, but it was just brought to my attention in a very poignant sort of way.
Has that actually resulted or been documented to improve the hygiene and health and cleanliness of the public restroom?
You know, I don't know what the study, I just had that sort of personal experience, and I don't know much about that example in terms of, but I think they finished that building about a year ago. So I don't know what the effects are in terms of, it would be, it definitely would be. Especially because it gets it's a lot of public use.
Well, yeah, that was the,
yeah, right.
I think of a Greyhound bus station.
Exactly. So daily ordinary contact with nature, in addition to the natural environment of, say, restored landscapes or other sorts of landscapes, can also come to some extent through the built environment. Yale social ecologist Stephen Kellert has written extensively on what he has termed restorative environmental design. That is, design of the built environment that is both restorative for the natural environment in terms of its low impact, as well as restorative for persons in terms of vernacularly connecting them with nature through, for instance, the ability to see, views, contact with water, biodiversity, plant life within buildings and around buildings, sensory variability, biomimicry, the idea that natural forms are represented, sense of playfulness, enticement. So one might look around the room that we're sitting in right now and ask the extent to which we feel a connection with nature. Maybe the floral wallpaper or not. And so with these two general ideas in mind, that what we want to restore is land health, or some sense of land health, as well as ordinary contact with nature. I want to move to my second question, which is, why do we want to and why ought we restore these things? Why restore nature? Why restore land health? Why restore our daily contact with nature? There are, of course, many responses from a variety of disciplines that we could cite here. Why restore land health? Because the sustainability of our planet depends on it. Because it gives nature itself its due. Because it makes long-term economic sense. Because, as Leopold thought, healthy land is beautiful land. And so on. And once again, in part, our response to why restore stems from what we say has been lost or impoverished and is in need of restoration, in need of recovered health, in need of healing in the first place. So here I would like to pose just one response to the question of why we should restore nature and our connection to it. And given the topic of this particular conference, My response, it relates to religion and to spirituality and to Christian spirituality more particularly. So why restore nature and the human-nature connection? Here I want to suggest it is that because our spirituality depends on it, on both a healthy and diverse natural world, as well as contact with nature and nature-like processes. Nature is the cradle of human spirituality, and without it, a vital connection to it, where nature and our relation to it is impoverished and degraded, so too is our capacity to make sense of the worlds around and within us, to find ultimate meaning, fulfillment, and contentment, to gain a broader sense of purpose and shared sense of commonality and moral responsibility for other persons and creatures, to feel unity and oneness with the universe despite its extraordinary variability and diversity, to know beauty and mystery and grace, to respond to suffering and struggle, to embrace the notion that life persists in the midst of perpetual perishing. Put positively, the fullest expression of our humanity, our actualized potentiality, in Aristotle's and Thomas Aquinas' language, depends in unparalleled and irreproducible ways on our connection with the natural world. We need contact with nature, writes landscape architect Tim Beatley. This is not an extra option. It is essential to our well-being and to our emotional health, to a deep sense of who we are. Terry Tempest Williams puts it poetically. If we don't know the names of things, if we don't know pronghorn antelope, if we don't know black-tailed jackrabbit, if we don't know sage juniper, then I think we are living a life within specificity, and then our lives become abstractions. Then we enter a place of true desolation. We are, claims Harvard biologist E.O. Wilson, a biological species who will find little ultimate meaning apart from the remainder of life. There is presently no other way, writes Father Thomas Berry, for persons to educate themselves for survival and fulfillment than through the instruction available from the natural world. This idea that we are dependent on nature for our spiritual well-being has both modern scientific and ancient religious roots. And both of these perspectives will need to be further understood and nurtured in developing an emergent understanding of Christian spirituality. That is, if we hope that Christianity, as Larry Rasmussen, Christian ethicist Larry Rasmussen writes, if we hope that Christianity will now be able to account for ecology's challenge to embed human beings so profoundly in the story of Earth and evolution that Christianity shows itself to be a genuine Earth faith, inclusive of the community of life and at home in the cosmos. So just briefly, I want to point out 2 points, one from the sciences and one from the Christian tradition, magnifying this idea that humanity is dependent on our relationship with the natural world for our ultimate meaning and fulfillment. First, from the sciences. From the perspective of evolutionary biology has come the notion of biophilia, a term first coined by psychologist Erich Fromm and further expanded and popularized by Harvard biologist E.O. Wilson and Yale social ecologist Stephen Keller. Biophilia is the idea that all humans possess an innate biologically based need and yearning to affiliate with life and lifelike processes. The point I would like to stress here with regards to human spirituality is the idea that the basic universal need and yearning to meaningfully connect with the natural world is inherent. That is, biologically based, even if it's weakly genetically encoded.